On September 21st, 1866, Herbert George Wells was born to a particularly poor family in Bromley, Kent County, England. After a series of unfortunate financial accidents, Wells's father Joseph was not able to provide for the family. Instead, Wells's mother Sarah went back to work as a housekeeper in a nearby estate. It was at this time that Wells was forced to leave Thomas Morley's academy where he had been studying. However, he continued to develop even at such a young age his passion for reading, and often he would be caught studying in secret in the library. Wells went on to find employment as a teacher at Medhurst Grammar School. It was during this period of his life that he was to experience one of his greatest breakthroughs. Wells was given the opportunity to receive a scholarship that allowed him to study at the Normal School of Science in London. Here Wells was able to study under one of England's leading scientists, T.H. Huxley. Huxley actually influenced a lot of H.G. Wells' writing because he exposed him to new areas in zoology, biology, as well as to the new evolutionary ideas of Charles Darwin. Even at this early age, Wells was captivated by the scientific arena, and yet he was always able to look at the scientific realm and recognize the consequences that would follow. H.G. Wells' novel, The First Man in the Moon, tells the adventurous tale of two men, Mr. Bedford and scientist Mr. Cavor. Upon the creation of a gravity-resistant element, dubbed Cavorite, Mr. Cavor builds a flying machine capable of reaching the surface of the moon. A series of moving windows is used to guide the ship in the proper direction. After reaching the surface of the moon, the two men discover an atmosphere capable of sustaining life. In fact, the moon itself is inhabited by weak insect-like creatures called selenites. Mr. Bedford and Mr. Cavor fight against these underground creatures, risking their lives to return to Earth. Sadly, only Bedford is able to return, and Mr. Cavor is left to teach these selenites about Earth. Wells really uses the selenite civilization to paint the picture of the ultimate utopia that he sees for mankind. In comparison between the two, H.G. Wells makes it extremely clear that it's actually the selenite population that is superior. They are disgusted by the thought of war. Their cities are underground, making them much more safe. All their citizens speak the same language, which also makes them incredibly more productive. So, Wells again really uses this population to point out the faulty nature and incapabilities of humanity. The Food of the Gods and How It Came to Earth was such a great novel because you had three separate books that could stand alone, coming together to form just a masterpiece. In this thrilling novel, H.G. Wells recounts the tale of scientist Bensington and Redwood. Together, the two create a chemical food by which living things never stop growing. These experiments prove dangerous, however, as the world faces the threat of giant animals and humans alike. One of Wells's greatest objectives in The Food of the Gods is to point out the error in humanity that we are willing to embark on these scientific adventures, but we're not willing to live up to the consequences or to reap the results. We see, as this growth hormone gets out of control, the effects that it has on animals and plants, but also on human subjects. And this is where we have protests in the street and these rallies to stir up
anti-giant sentiment. There are, in many cases, even biblical allusions to David the Giant Killer in an attempt to make these giants appear evil.
Wales concludes The Food of the Gods with the giants deciding to bring war against the rest of mankind. Once again, he has reminded his reader that scientific advancement will always come with a price.